Back in the 1980s, they said the future is electric. And they were right. What they didn't mean was let's all drive around in a Nissan Leaf, because that's stupid. They meant fast, efficient, clever and desirable forms of transport. Today, VW has made one, the Golf GTE. It's good. What Golf isn't? This one is the fourth in the performance Golf range. It's a plug-in hybrid. It uses a 1.4 engine and a battery. The easy way to look at this then is that it's a bit like a Prius, except that it also isn't. Now, for some people, that isn't an issue because the Prius is a very good car. What makes the Prius not as good as this is the gearbox and the power. Because it's a plug-in hybrid, it doesn't mean you have to charge it, but it is an option you would choose because that would be cheaper. How much we'll come on to. Fully charged, you can drive around in full electric mode by using this button. And that means I can drive around like this for about 30 miles and up to 80 miles an hour in silence. Very Blade Runner. Where the E stands for electric in GTE, the GT stands for the performance part, of which there is plenty. 200 horsepower and 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds. And this is achieved using the battery and the engine together, and that means you get an enormous amount of torque. In fact, when you press this button, it becomes a GTI. Well, almost. That 1.4 engine alone is one of the best small engines I've ever driven, not just because of its cute sound. So if your monthly budget doesn't stretch to the GTE, you should definitely keep the 1.4 in mind. Of course, the downside of the 1.4 TSI engine is that it uses, well, a little bit more fuel than you think it would because, well, it's quite powerful. This, on the other hand, doesn't. And that brings me on to the press release from VW here, which says that the GTE does 166 miles to the gallon. It's very accurate, probably. I mean, I don't see any reason. More realistically, the figure was around 85 miles to the gallon, if you remember to charge it up. 42 if you don't. It's also got an electronic sort of engine noise thing here. You can press that button and it makes the sound of an engine. Again, possibly not as accurate as it could be. Like all Golfs, it's very easy to drive. There's tons of vision and space, and they're generous. You don't need any kit, but if you did want, say, a reverse camera, for instance, it would only be £265. And if you want some lane departure, some road sign warnings, automatic detection of accidents, and special LED lights, all that is just £600. And these LED lights are very clever because they are always on full beam, but you don't blind anyone because they're constantly changing and moving around. And that's good because they're not that expensive either. And that is the charging point, which we're going to do now. It's very easy. Look. Thing. For most people, it is easy, and for those who bother to read the instructions. Many chargers, like this one, are free. You'll just need the apps and to learn where they are. But it's probably not much fun in the rain. Obviously then, that's not an option you're going to use very often. Instead, you'll be charging at home for 85p, or pay the £279 to have the charging point installed in your garage. And whilst that seems like an enormous faff, which it sort of is, and there's the fact that you might have to queue up for a pod point if someone's already there before you. There are some obvious advantages, such as no diesel surcharge, no congestion charge. In fact, if you wanted to stick two fingers up at the government, this would be the ideal car for that. Except it wouldn't, because they want you to drive one. Unusual for the government to want you to drive a car that's actually good. This is. And there's also sometimes special incentives dotted around, which might be why the GTE was the cheapest performance Golf on my last check on the website. And about now there'll be a pop-up inviting you to have a look at the prices for yourself. Next here, a look at the infotainment and my final sum up. Now, before we go, this is CarNet, which is an app that you get, and you can do things like, for example, tells you your current position, the battery life, and you can put in a location and send it to the car from your phone. So when you get in, it's already there, which I like. And if you plug it in using the USB device, in fact, this works with any phone, actually any smartphone, you only get one USB there. So if you've got lots of you all needing to charge, it's not that great. But then what you get here is Apple CarPlay, or the Android equivalent. So you obviously know what that is. So you get better maps, you get your music, podcasts, messages, all of that. And that's fantastic. And it's free.
So is the famous auto cruise control. That means the TV commercial is right. This car is designed to make you smile.
Yeah, because like in the advert, when you press the button, it's supposed to make you laugh. So,
So, the burning question, is it as good as a GTI or the Golf R? Well, of course it isn't. But think of all the money you'd save. And despite its tyre noise, I'd still have this over a 3 Series and possibly over the GTD. Some say this isn't an exciting drive. I disagree. It is. Because it's unique and fast and of the moment.